Hello and welcome to Rushmore Studios. Today I have the pleasure of welcoming Stuart from the University of Suffolk with us. I won't go into the introduction, I'll leave that to you. So could you please tell us a little bit more about yourself, your background, and the nature of your role at the university?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me out to Mauritius. What a beautiful island, and everyone has been so welcoming, so thank you so much for that. For those of you who are unaware of me, my name is Stuart Agnew. I'm an Associate Professor in Criminology, and I am the Director for the Centre of Academic and International Partnerships. A little bit about my background. I started off in 2008 as a lecturer in Criminology at the University of Suffolk, and I have progressed through the academic ranks there, so to Senior Lecturer, Associate Professor, the Associate Dean for the School of Social Sciences and Humanities, and then 3 years ago I transferred to become the Director for the Centre of Academic and International Partnerships, which means I currently look after approximately 15,000 students globally.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm very fortunate. I've got a fantastic team of 10 who work with me, who look after these students too. In terms of my academic background, criminology, my research areas fall into two main areas. One is around children and young people. Right. I'm a passionate believer that children and young people are amongst the most vulnerable in society, so how we respond to them and support them is really important. So areas of research in there I've done is looked at children's aspirations in education, mentoring in schools and colleges, youth unemployment, the provision of mobile youth services. So I don't know what it's like in Mauritius, but back in England, Friday night, the local authority closes at 6 p.m. and there's nothing to support children and young people over the weekend or in the evenings. So I supported a project, an evaluated project that took youth workers out from 8 p.m. to 4 a.m. in the mornings over a Friday, Saturday, Sunday to do that, and I did work on that. The other side of the research areas that I would look into is, again, traditionally would be crime and deviance. And a couple of examples in there would be, I did a project looking at evaluating urban street gangs in Birmingham for West Midlands Police Service. So that's looking at some of the most challenging behaviours that young people are involved in criminal activities. I've done some research around domestic abuse and how the survivors of domestic abuse have been either well supported or not so well supported by the criminal justice system. I've also looked at crimes against the business community, which those of you who are interested in studying a business management programme or an MBA programme may come in useful. And I've also looked at supporting workforces who support victims of online abuse, so not so much the children themselves, but the professionals that work with. What do we do to support the professionals, to support the victims? So there's a number of areas that I've worked in over the years, and unfortunately now I've moved into the sort of role that I have. I don't have the opportunity to get involved in as much research or as much teaching as I once did, which was the most interesting aspect of the role, to be honest. But now I look after 15,000 students across the world, and that's a privilege.
Excellent. Well, welcome once again to Mauritius and to Rushmore Business School. After hearing all you've said, I think the students awaiting the guest lecture tomorrow are going to be in for a treat. And with all the work that you've done, you have a lot of experience, you have so much knowledge that you bring and you are using in the higher education sector. Maybe you can tell us a bit more about your visit here at Rushmore Business School and what you hope to achieve?
Absolutely. And to be very clear, for me, education, partnerships, everything is about human relationships, what we know about one another. Now, I'm based 6,000 miles away. Your students, yourselves are based here. Beautiful, beautiful country to be in. But technology, it does not give you the same impact as being able to walk in. I've got a colleague, and he starts a criminological theory module every year the same way. He says, what I want you to learn is how to walk in someone else's moccasins. All right. So without meeting people, without speaking to people, you can't understand the world through their eyes. You don't understand everything that you can.
Yes.
So relationships are so important, and that relationship is both in terms of our professional relationships, so between Rushmore Business School and the colleagues of your wonderful teams here, and mine back at the University of Suffolk, but the relationships between the academic staff and the support staff here and the students, the relationships between the students with each other and their peers. And so that's sort of the purpose of me being here today with my colleague is actually to meet you all, because I know that you do fantastic work, and you do fantastic work. You've got phenomenal facilities. Now, we can see that online, but it's not the same as being here, meeting you, seeing them in person, speaking to your students. So the sole purpose of me being here actually is to learn from you. How are things going? What works well? What could I do to help facilitate it to be even better, if that's possible? So that's why we're here for this visit, and we will be back again soon.
Excellent. Well, there's a saying that says it takes two to tango, and in Mauritius we say "deux la main taper pour faire son," which means two hands to clap.
Yes.
So what can you tell us in terms of the partnership between Rushmore and the University of Suffolk? How does this partnership contribute to the global ambitions of the university?
Well, that's a really good question, and it's one of those ones that the University of Suffolk is very careful, as is Rushmore Business School, about who we work with.
Yes.
And one of the reasons that we work well together and why we are working together is because we actually have shared values. And if you don't mind, I'd just like to tease that out a little bit. So the first one is, one of our first values is collaboration. Everything we do has to be in collaboration. So that is the University of Suffolk working in collaboration with the colleagues at Rushmore Business School, and vice versa. No one party dictates to the other. We work together. But we also collaborate with our students. We also collaborate with the wider stakeholders, the community that we are serving, and the industry experts that we need to provide graduates to. So collaboration is so important for us. We want to empower people. We want to empower our staff, but we also want to empower our students. Let them believe in themselves, that they can do what they need to do to be successful in life. And success does look different for everyone, so that's fine. There's no one size fits all. We want it to be done in a professional manner. Rushmore Business School are very professional in the way they undertake the learning and teaching and all their business actions, as is University of Suffolk. We both work in a highly regulated arena in higher education, which also helps ensure that we do maintain those professional standards and professional approaches to what we do. Both organisations truly believe in the transformation effect that higher education can have. Positive higher education really has a great impact on people's lives. It can allow social mobility that lots of other things cannot do, whereas negative educational experiences actually have the opposite effects in there. And one of the benefits of working with Rushmore Business School is we see that positive transformational effect, and that's exactly what both organisations and both teaching teams and all the support staff we endeavour to do. And two last ones about the innovation and the innovative approach that Rushmore undertake. And I see that in a number of the courses that are there, whether that is within the nursing and midwifery or specifically for your programme that you look after, law, the LLB law programme, the activities that the students undertake are very innovative. And it's not the sort of thing you actually see everywhere. And the course team and Rushmore Business School are to be congratulated and commended for that, because it's fantastic what actually goes on, which links to the very last one of the values, which is creativity. And that is demonstrated by the way all the programmes are being designed, have been delivered, who are supporting the students, drawing against industry experience where it's required and where it's beneficial. So it's there for a purpose. Everything that we do is there to enhance education and to enhance the learning experience of the students, so they are graduates with the most opportunities going forward. So when you look at those key values that arguably both organisations share, but not just at senior management level, you see that through all the course teams. We see that through the administration staff, both organisations, with a common goal for successful students. It makes sense that we work collaboratively and continually together.
Yes, so it's really making higher education a catalyst for empowering people on their professional and personal growth journeys.
Absolutely. And that's what it is. The education qualification, which is a UK education qualification, but delivered by your partners, yourselves, Rushmore Business School, is there to, it should be seen as a framework for them to hang on to and then grow, take the next step, use that as a leap to something else. But you know what? You've done your LLB with us. Come back in a few years' time, because there might be a master's course. Or you've done your business management undergraduate program. Come back to us and do your MBA. Those sort of things is there, because education is lifelong. It no longer is something that you do when you start when you're a young child and you finish at 24. The expectation in the 21st century is you continue lifelong learning, and we are here to work with our graduates and our alumni once they do graduate to help them succeed going forward.
Oh, that's brilliant. I think we need to change the thing now. It's no longer de l'armée battée fait son, it's de l'armée battée fait la musique. So 2 hands clap together to make not just sound but music.
Yes, absolutely, and that's where we're going with it.
Brilliant. We're talking about music. A lot of changes are happening in the music industry and in the education sector as well. We've had a lot of significant transformation with the pandemic and the increasing use of AI and technology in teaching, in learning. In the context of this evolution, how do you see this partnership, the innovation within the partnership between these two institutions play a role in shaping the future of global education?
And that is a very interesting one. Part of that horizon scanning is something that academic staff have to do all the time, as does, needless to say, both organisations. So we're trying to predict where things may go in the future. The pandemic was such a difficult period for everyone. But what it did do is it drove change and innovation within education that was never there before. We have now embraced technology in a way that we never did. We are able to live stream classes. We're able to be more creative in the way we think about, do we have to do this face to face? Is there a better way that we can do it and get the same outcome but make it more accessible for everyone? And again, that's where technology has come in really helpful. Our classroom no longer has to be a physical space. It can be anywhere we want it to be. You've now got the opportunity with the advent of modern educational technologies where you've got a global classroom.
Yes.
Right? You could easily, rather than having a lecture with 30 students in a classroom, you could have a lecture with 300 or 500 students from around the world. You could have such small group discussions for many different cultures with backgrounds and beliefs, where you can then tease out really key, difficult conversations and ideas, what we do in academia and in higher education. So you have got this wonderful thing there, so long as we never forget the human touch, the relationship. So we can't allow the technology to take over from everything. So that's where we come maybe into the conversations about AI. Where does AI fit in higher education? Well, AI is only ever going to become more prominent in our lives.
Absolutely.
So we have to train our students on ethical use of AI. We have to be quite clear on what our policies and processes are with AI. AI for higher education, in my opinion, is something that should be used to help aid them with mundane tasks that we know in future that no one's going to need to do. So help them with the library searches, help them access some data and bring it through, but then they have to manually learn how to analyse and develop their arguments and find the evidence to support it. So AI is very important. It will allow us to help automate certain things. So any process work we can do through AI, but learning only really works through engagement. So students need to engage with ourselves, they need to engage with one another, they need to engage with the written materials and the case studies that we ask them to work with. So there is a place for both technology, AI in the future, but there will always be a place for an academic staff member, a teaching staff member, a support staff member, and most definitely students and other key stakeholders.
It's really all about the human connection.
Most definitely.
Great, I think that's great insight for those of us who work in that field and the students who are learning to maybe integrate AI a little bit more in their learning practices. So I think that's very good insight that you've shared with us. Thank you so much. I think we're nearly at the end. What I wanted to ask you, and that's maybe more for the parents and the students who are considering international education, Rushmore is positioning itself, has positioned itself already as a gateway for international legal and other qualifications as well. How do you see the role of Rushmore and Suffolk, the University of Suffolk? What advice could you give to parents and students who are listening to us and are considering opting for such international qualifications?
What I would say, I understand fully any caution parents or individuals have when they're paying for their own programs. There is definitely a demand for international qualifications. There is no doubt about that. So one of the things to be considering is what is it that you're actually trying to achieve. It's sad to admit that many of the Western nations are now making it more difficult for international students to go there. They're tightening up visa requirements, they are restricting the number of international students that are allowed to go in there. So you could be here, but 2 years ago, it would have been easier to go to England, it would be easier to go to America, Australia, European Union to do your courses. Whereas at the moment, it's now got much more restrictive. And if we're honest, the direction of travel currently does not look positive for that to change anytime soon.
Right.
But even with that, say that's not there, the expense of a visa, the expense of accommodation in any country that you want to go to, it is not cheap. I know many of your colleagues have studied in England. You know exactly how expensive it is to rent student accommodation, then eating, and all the, you've got to provide all your food, your cost of living, and all the rest of it, in addition to studying in a country that you don't really know. So you have all that. So if you bring that back to here, if you could do the exact same program, so let's, for example, if I may, the LLB law, or our nursing top-up programs, or our midwifery programs that we're offering here. If you can do the same program in Mauritius that's been delivered in Ipswich to the exact same standards, to the exact same validation, to the exact same award at the end of your degree program, delivered by highly capable, qualified professional teaching staff with good support mechanisms and fantastic resources which do exist here at Rushmore Business School at a much cheaper cost. You can stay home with your family, you're staying with your friends, and with all the knowledge that you're gaining, you're able to apply that to the local community where you live and work. It makes more sense to me in some cases if price is important or you can't get into another country. Why not? And what I can assure parents and individuals, it is the same course. It is the same standards. We have our regulators back in the United Kingdom that insist it's the same standards, and you have very strict regulation in Mauritius that insist it's the same standards. So we can assure everyone that they're getting high quality education at an accessible price range with highly qualified staff that is overseen and quality assured by the University of Suffolk, that have academic staff and my professional services staff who work with the teams here just to make sure everyone is on the same page. So hopefully that gives them the reassurance that they may need.
Great. And I think I would like to thank you and the team for all the support that you bring to us in making our mission successful, our mission of making this high quality education affordable, and bringing it to the people here in Mauritius, and as well as people who live just outside the area of Mauritius, international students as well. So thank you very much for this. I think we've reached the end of our interview. We've reached the end of the questions that I've had for you. Any final words that you would like to share with us?
What I would like to say is we are immensely proud of our relationship with Rushmore Business School. We're also immensely proud of our graduates. You have worked amazingly well, graduates. You are working full time quite often, you are studying at the same time, you may have family commitments, and we see that and we recognise that, and as such we applaud you completely. Our nursing and midwifery students have done exceptionally well, and as our data science and AI students, as well as our business management students too, not taking anything away from anyone. So in terms of the University of Suffolk, myself personally, I'm immensely proud to say I'm working with Rushmore Business School, and what is being delivered here is exceptional. So thank you for actually representing University of Suffolk so well in Mauritius.
Thank you very much. I think this is a very good note on which we can end today's interview. Thank you once again for joining us at Rushmore Business School and sharing so much in terms of what you bring from the university and how we can collaborate and work together to make high quality education affordable and available to all those students. Thank you very much indeed.
And thank you. Take care.
Rushmore Business School. Re-engineering your future.